At 2:17 a.m., Evelyn's phone vibrated violently on the nightstand, the sudden noise ripping her out of a half-dream. She reached out grudgingly, but the moment she saw the screen, her sleep vanished instantly. Her breath stopped. Her chest tightened. The glowing display showed something impossible, an incoming call from her own number. Not unknown, not private. Her exact number, her exact name. The phone kept buzzing in her hand, the vibration trembling against her palm like a warning. Evelyn let it ring, too afraid to answer, too frozen to move. When it finally stopped, she exhaled shakily. But then another notification popped up. One new voicemail. She stared at it for several seconds before pressing play. Static filled her ears at first, but then a voice broke through. Her own voice, panicked, shaking, breathless. "Evelyn, don't open the door. It's not me. It's not." A loud crashing sound cut her off, followed by a scream so raw she felt it pierce her spine. Then silence. The voicemail ended abruptly. Evelyn dropped the phone onto her blanket, pressing both hands to her mouth. She had never screamed like that. She had never said those words. Whatever she heard hadn't happened yet. Or it belonged to another version of her, one that didn't survive. The next morning, sunlight spilled into her small rental cabin on the edge of rural Stony Creek, Montana, but it didn't warm her. She moved through her kitchen in a daze, replaying the voicemail in her mind. She wanted to believe it was a glitch, a prank, a cross line, anything normal, but the recording had sounded too real, too close, too much like she was hearing her own death. She drove into town to the tiny diner where locals gathered, looking for reassurance. When she asked Sheriff Thompson if spoofed calls like that happened often around Stony Creek, he frowned at her. "Out here, phones barely get reception unless you're lucky. Could have been a dream." She nodded even though she didn't believe it. When she stepped outside, her phone buzzed again. Another missed call, same caller ID, same impossible truth herself. She didn't listen to this voicemail. She shoved her phone in her pocket and drove home faster than she meant to. That night, Evelyn tried to stay awake, keeping the TV on for noise, but exhaustion crushed her resistance. Sometime past midnight, a faint scratching sound woke her. At first, she thought it was branches outside scraping along the cabin wall. But the sound wasn't outside. It was inside, coming from the front door. Scratch. A slow dragging scrape across the wood, like fingernails, too long, too deliberate. Evelyn froze on the couch, pulling her blanket to her chin. Her phone lit up on the coffee table at the same moment. Another incoming call. Once again, from her own number. The scratching at the door stopped instantly, like whoever or whatever was doing it turned its attention to the ringing phone. She didn't answer, but as soon as it stopped, a new voicemail appeared. Her heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. She pressed play with trembling fingers. Her own voice spilled out again, gasping, terrified. "Evelyn, don't go near the door, please listen, don't let it in." A familiar knocking sound banged in the background of the voicemail, the exact rhythm of her cabin door being hit right at that moment. 4 slow knocks. Her recorded voice suddenly screamed, "IT can look like you." The voicemail ended with another crash and a distorted shriek. Evelyn stared at her front door from across the room. The cabin was silent, completely silent, too silent. She didn't sleep the rest of the night. By morning, the fear had burrowed deep into her bones. She drove to the town library, desperate for answers, searching online for cases of phones calling from the same number, timelines glitching, doppelgangers, anything. Most results were urban legends or creepypasta. But one old archive page caught her eye. A forum post from 2011 titled, If you get a call from yourself, don't answer. The post talked about an echo, a version of yourself caught somewhere between death and warning, contacting you if something in your timeline was about to go horribly wrong. Evelyn tried to shake it off, but the dread inside her kept growing. Night 3 was worse, much worse. Wind hammered the cabin. Branches clawed at the roof. Evelyn taped blankets over the windows, locked every door twice, and sat with her back against the wall clutching a kitchen knife. At 1:06 a.m., her phone rang again. She didn't want to look. She didn't need to look. She knew who was calling. The screen glowed anyway, illuminating the cabin with a cold blue shine. Incoming call. Evelyn. Instead of ringing, the phone immediately switched to voicemail, like the call had already happened. A new recording appeared instantly. She didn't move. The voicemail icon blinked in the darkness. After several minutes, she forced herself to press play. This message was clearer, calmer, her voice but drained, whispering like she was dying. Evelyn. It's already inside. Evelyn dropped the phone. It clattered onto the floor. Something shifted in the hallway. A soft footstep. Not outside, not at the door, inside the cabin. Evelyn held her breath, gripping the knife harder. The hallway light flickered. Another step. Slow, heavy, too measured. Like something mimicking the sound of footsteps instead of naturally walking. Her phone buzzed again on the floor. Another voicemail. She didn't want to listen. She didn't want to know. But her recorded voice began playing automatically without her touching anything. Don't run, her whispering self said. It watches how you move. It learns. Evelyn started crying silently. She pushed herself into the corner, trying to make herself invisible. But then she heard something new breathing. Soft, raspy, coming from the hallway. Then, her own voice echoed from the darkness, but not from the phone, from the hallway itself. Evelyn, it called softly. Identical voice, identical tone, identical pitch. Come here. Evelyn pressed a hand over her mouth to stop herself from screaming. The voice grew closer. I just want to talk, it said, imitating her perfectly. Let me show you something. She backed toward the window, but the voicemail had warned her, don't go near the door. Don't open anything. So she crouched down, trembling violently, while the thing pretending to be her stepped into the faint light. It looked like her, same hair, same face, same clothes. But the eyes were wrong, too dark, too glossy, too empty. A smile stretched across his face, too wide to be human. It tilted its head slowly, studying her. I told you not to answer, it whispered, voice glitching between tones. Evelyn couldn't speak. She could barely breathe. The thing took another step toward her, and the cabin lights flickered out completely. In the darkness, her phone lit up one last time. A final voicemail. She heard her future self screaming, "Run now!" Evelyn didn't hesitate. She darted through the kitchen, grabbed the back door handle, and sprinted into the freezing night. The creature shrieked behind her, a twisted, awful sound that didn't match her voice anymore. Evelyn didn't stop running until she reached the highway, waving frantically at an approaching truck. The driver slammed the brakes and let her inside, trembling and half-frozen. She never returned to the cabin. By morning, the sheriff found the place torn apart inside, but no signs of forced entry. No footprints. No fingerprints. Nothing. Evelyn changed her number the next day, moved out of state, tried to rebuild her life. But sometimes, late at night, her new phone buzzes once, just once, with no caller ID, and every time she checks, there's a voicemail waiting. Always empty, always only static. And sometimes, buried deep within the noise, She hears a familiar voice whispering her name, an echo of the version of her that didn't make it out.